Hello and welcome to Affordable Backyard University, where you will confidently learn how to purchase backyard home improvements the right way. This week we slide up Highway 156 to the northwest part of the Metroplex to one of our favorite little towns, Justin, Texas, where we're going to see a beautiful pergola that's really like two pergolas in one. And that's next. Hey, before we get started, could I ask you a favor? Hey, we love you, but all we ask is that you like us, so click the like button if you like what you see coming up. Also, if you'd like to be on the inside track, if you'll click subscribe, then every week you'll automatically get the newest video. So, one last thing, if there's a topic you'd like to see covered, having to do with backyard projects like what we feature, hey, put it in the comments and we'll try to get to it. Today's is the result of a comment. Okay now, is that thing good looking or what? I mean, it just makes a statement, doesn't it? Makes you want to get out there and sit under it right now as soon as we get a chair or something. But what I meant when I said two pergolas in one is, if you'll notice, the center section with the eave is shingled. The two wings on either end are open top where they provide shade, but you'll see what I mean in just a second. Okay, so to give you an idea as to the scale, the center section is 12 feet wide, 16 foot deep. The wings are 12 foot by 10 on one side and 10 by 10 on the other. So you're looking at something basically that's 34 feet long. And for perspective, to the bottom of the beam on the two wing walls is about 8 foot, and in the center is about 9. Just as a side note, the color is Ready Seal Pecan. That is Western red cedar wood. And then you'll notice it matches that fence that we also built, but that's for another time and another video. So let's start by talking about the bones, the structure itself. You know, this channel's not about teaching you how to build one yourself. We're about teaching you how to go contact a contractor and know what the heck you're talking about when they show up, so you don't get taken and you get a product that you love and use for years and years and years. Okay, so as we start this, I'm sure just shake your head yes if you already know what I'm talking about. But the wood that's stained now, that's Western red cedar. Those posts are 8 by 8, which is a upgraded size. Normally they're 6 by 6, but this structure was big enough, being 34 feet long, and there was enough room on the pad that they could use the bigger post without taking up valuable real estate. The beams, which is what sits on top of those posts and underneath the roof itself, those are 4 by 12 Western red cedar beams. The white wood is 2 by 6 framing timber, and obviously the fascia there that's stained is a 2 by 6 Western red cedar board. Just a note, and something you need to pay attention to. There's the bottom of that 8 by 8 post, and if you'll notice, it's sitting in a Simpson post base. So that post base is anchored to that concrete, and then that's what it sits about an inch off the ground, so the bottom of that post stays dry. But what you can't see is under that concrete deck, we poured a 12 by 12, 18 inches deep concrete pier to support that weight. That is something you need to make sure your contractor does. Okay, now you know the front of that pergola sits on those 8 by 8 posts, but what holds up the back? And this will show you. That is that 4 by 12 beam, and you're right, it's going through that brick wall. It sits on the top plate of the lower floor, and it's attached to the frame that is in between that makes up the subfloor. It's not going anywhere. It's that house will blow down before the pergola goes. You'll see it in a little later in the video, but what happens next, when they're ready, they'll put the bricks and stuff back, remortar them in, and trim around that where you can't ever tell we ever did it. You know what? This should all make sense now. So here's the underside of that covered portion of the pergola. You can see the beams going through the wall. You can see how it's trimmed out around where you can't see where the work was done. Also, it's a great view of the underside, the beadboard that makes the roof that's so beautiful, and it's almost like a Colorado chalet or something. Also, you can see, we'll talk about this in a second, where the actual shaded portion attaches to that roof, and we'll get into that next. This is a great shot of the right side wing wall. This is a 12-foot long section. So you see the 4x12 beam as it rests on that 8x8 post and the decoration around the edges of it. You see those 2x6 joists with the fancy end cuts, and they hold up. That's Western red cedar 2x4s across the top, providing the shade. And because the sun's at an angle, you can tell far from behind our back where we're shooting this, you can see the shade against the wall is solid, and that's because the sun's hitting those boards at an angle, and they're only about 2 inches apart. It really makes for great shade. Great place to put your cooker. Here's a good shot of that left side wing wall. It shows you a little better shot about how those 2x6 joists go across that 4x12 beam, and then a really good look at those 2x4 Western red cedar boards that are about 2 inches apart. This shot is really a good detail to show how the solid roof and the shade roof kind of match together. Also, you'll notice that there is a 2x8 ledger board against the wall that is the base for the joist for the shade covered portion. And there you have it. From zero to completion in less than 10 minutes. Don't you wish we could really do it that fast? Hey, while we're on this, remember, this is not about you learning how to build one of these yourself, even though you could, but it's about teaching you how to confidently deal with a contractor in your town. So another thing is, make sure whoever you hire goes and gets a permit from the city. It does a couple of things for you. First, the city's going to approve the plan so that it's built to a standard. This is the equivalent basically of what your house is being built to. Number two, they will send people out to check the work as it goes on to make sure it's being done step by step the way it's supposed to be done. A lot of contractors don't want to mess with the city. They'll go, oh, you don't need to do that. But trust me, you want the peace of mind that having the city come check that work does. Hey, we'd like to thank you for visiting with us on Affordable Backyard University. If you liked what you saw, click the like button. Help a brother out. We make videos every week. If you'd like to be notified, click the subscribe button. Ring the bell. Leave a question, leave a comment, leave a criticism. If you liked it, like it.